it was actually commissioned, but now I'm being told it's even yet to be commissioned. So there's quite a bit of publicity out there about the Blue Line. But we know that you just received a few cars recently. Yes. And in light of the insecurity that's happened recently in Edo, many people are concerned about their excitement about the rail lines about to start in Lagos. We're also worried about security. So let me start with how secure are the trains? Or should we start from what you've received last weekend? Let us start with that. Let us go to security.
So thank you very much for your question. So what have we received in the past couple of weeks? It's 2 more sets of rolling stock. So historically, we had 1 set of 4-car electric multiple units. We call them EMU in the industry. So now we've gotten 2 more sets of that. So in total, we have 3 sets of rolling stock that we will be using to start the passenger operations when we do start towards the end of the first quarter of this year. So by the end of March.
So as I said, let's not go to the issue of insecurity, because safety is a major problem, especially what happened recently. People are wondering, are our train stations safe?
I think, first of all, it is things that will happen that will sort of also help you to rethink your own plans. And that is what we are continuing to do within LAMATA and within the state. So first of all, we have always had the visibility of CCTV in all of our stations, on the trains. We also are working with Lagos Neighborhood Watch, who will put sort of like, well, I don't know how to call them, not detectives, but people who sort of mingle with the crowd and understand what people are doing, sort of gather local intelligence. So you are listening when they're in your station, you are watching body language, you're just generally watching people. So we've put that as another way that we will ensure that people who come into our stations have genuine intentions of just getting on the train and not causing any harm. All along the alignment itself, we will have safety gadgets that will tell us when there's sort of like motion sensors that will tell us. So we have a whole electric security system that will have a control room somewhere that we will be continuously monitoring.
Lagos.
That will allow us to see what's happening on our tracks, in our stations. Based on all the security gadgets that we've put there, we will now have a system within a location that we will have somebody watching, people sitting there regularly, daily, hourly, watching what is going on. And so all of that will sort of help us.
So the governor was here now. I feel like it has been commissioned. We know everything about the train, but since we are here in view of the commissioning coming up, could you once again tell us what the routes will be and the stations that are available?
Okay, so for now, we have done the first phase, and that will be from Mile 2 to Marina. And that will be the stations that we have that will be available for use now will be Mile 2, Alaba, Igomu, National Theatre, and Marina.
You're kidding me? If I want to go to Alaba, I'll just take the train.
Oh, yeah.
You're kidding me?
When will you start to actually operate?
Okay, so what we're doing now, we're going to be taking various facets of society. It's all about this sensitization to let the people know how to utilize this system. So for now, we'll take students one day, we will have media people come, we'll have corporate people come, we'll have market women come, just so that we can sensitize as many people as possible. But start of passenger operations will not be until the end of the first quarter. So either the last week in March or the first week in April. That's
you would need your Cowrie card?
Oh, yes.
That's in April, right?
Yes. So what will happen is, the way that Lagos is going, we're going down this route of integrated transport systems, where we are ensuring that everything sort of ties together. And in that sense, what we had done within LAMATA was to inaugurate this Cowrie card, which allows you to board our buses, and even on the ferries now, they use it. So when the trains come, it's the same system that you will use. You will notice that when we did the completion ceremony, we have automatic fare collection systems. And on that automatic fare collection system, all you have to do is load your card, you go there, you tap, and the gates will open, just like it happens everywhere in the world.
How do you load your card?
Sorry?
With your bank, through your bank? Or?
So you can load your card. We have USSD. We're now starting to work with just local mom and pop shops. You can go there to load. You can also, we have agents all over our bus stops, our bus stations, our terminals, and also the train stations itself. So you can do it.
We do with regular recharge cards.
That's correct.
Does it cost us money to load though? Like when you buy, no, you put 10,000.
In bank, we take their own charge.
Would you not be like, when you finish putting 10,000, what you would reflect in your account to be 9,960 naira? It's a valid question.
Okay, yeah, and I agree. So if you go to an agent and you put 10,000 on your card, that's exactly what you will get.
Okay.
So the customer does not get charged for loading.
Okay, that's good. This is very, I must applaud the cowrie move. Even within estates, you use a card to be, Lagos is really striving to go cashless, and it's a good, this is cashless and digital.
We agree with you now.
Yeah, it's a combination. But the question what many people have been asking is, we know that transit it's been ongoing for a long time. People in Agege, people in Ikeja are saying that it seems like it's impossible for you to have a rail for Ikorodu Road access. It's impossible. Like, where would you put it? Is there any plan to create a railway for Ikorodu, from Ikorodu all the way to maybe like
the town?
Costain?
Okay, so there's, within this strategic transport master plan, there are 6 rail lines, 6 metro and 1 monorail. One of them is a line that goes from Ikorodu to Ikeja. Now, the whole thing about this is connectivity. So whilst you want to go from Ikorodu, say, to Costain, if you get to Ikeja, you hop onto the red line. Yes. So there'll be connectivity between those stations, just like you have. And you will then be able to move from Ikeja to the island, i.e. Marina. Right. So that's...
Where would you put it for Ikorodu? That was what she was asking. Like, where exactly? Like, Ikorodu, is there space to put it?
Not Ikorodu Road, Ikorodu town. Right. I mean, we managed to. So there will be... So there is a...
It's above ground, I'm sure.
Well, it all depends on what we do. So there is a concept now. There is no detailed design yet. Right. Okay. So when the detailed design comes, it will tell you where. But
I'm concerned about this between now and end of February, where you won't allow regular people. So would you be inviting business people, or you just allow people to just go in for free between now and then? Is that what you're saying?
No. We will be inviting people. Oh, okay. It will be a controlled position. Okay. Because what it is really, it's more about ensuring that our processes work. Okay, so we also have to relate with NRC. NRC currently are the regulators. Yeah. So we must, between the two of us, build the confidence that what we have done, this is something that is new for us. First of all, it's an electrified train. Second of all, it's a metro. It's very different to the intercity system that we have. It is a train system that is designed actually to be able to have a train every 3 minutes. So we need to put processes in place. So it's not that you will get on the platform and a train is waiting for you for. Dwell time right now is designed at a maximum of 90 seconds. Wow. So it's exactly like a metro system that you have world over. So all of us need to know. So I need to sensitize the passengers. Like, you don't come and begin to chat and think the train will wait for you. You need to come and get on the train.
I wanted to say, also in our African time, when they say train will leave at 9 a.m., we now saunter in at 9:30. I'll be vexing that.
The train gone?
Yes, how can the train go? But then, you know, talking about this, it leads me to question on maintenance. A lot of fantastic projects we commission, and then a few years down the line is just a sorry sight. What would be the measures you're putting in place to make sure that it's maintained for a very long time?
Okay. So there are 2 facets to maintenance, obviously. There's the hard infrastructure maintenance, and then there's the soft one, i.e. just daily facilities sort of maintenance thing, cleaning it and making it comfortable for the passengers when they come. So that perspective, both of them will be handled by private sector. So the daily cleaning, we will have facilities managers who will work with us. Based on service level agreements, we will tell you how often you must clean the toilets, how often, what the platforms must look like. And then you will work to that perspective. And the people or whoever that contractor is will ensure that the stations are clean. We have it already with our bus terminals that we have. We have in Ikeja, we have in Yaba. And I'm sure you can attest to the fact that our terminals are always clean. So that is the sort of system we will run for the rail system as well. With regard to the hard infrastructure, we will go back and work with the contractor who has implemented it. We will have a system or an agreement in place that will say certain things in certain ways. So we have a maintenance agreement that will say that you must inspect all of my bridges once a year, and that is normal world over. Okay. You must carry out principal inspections on all my bridges. All the hard infrastructure for the stations must also be inspected. The track actually must be inspected on a daily basis. You must walk that track daily to ensure that there are no cracks, there is no missing joint.
This is already signed.
These are the things that we are working with our contractor as we speak now. Okay. So that way, we know that we in LAMATA are also building a train operation arm. So that, and we're training our people already to ensure that we do not constantly rely on foreign people, and we're already
Let me take this call from the UK. Olanrewaju, are you there? You're live. Go ahead, please.
Hello. Yeah, hello. Good morning, ladies.
Morning.
Yeah. The question I want to ask. Okay, before I ask the question, I will say from relation to Lagos State about this project. But something they forgot. You know, somebody started this project a couple of, like 30, 40 years ago, but it didn't go through. The governor then jacked on it.
Hello? Oh, I really wanted to hear that. Okay, yes, go ahead.
Let me come in here. You mentioned in the conversation that you were going to have to work with NRC, that's the Nigerian Railway Corporation, and I'm always worried when we have such federal government to states, because the NRC is a federal government agency, and then you have a state government. So to avoid a case of this is not my control, this is not, I don't have the authority over this thing, what are the scenarios that you have put in place as you forge this relationship to ensure there is no gap?
Okay, actually, the blue line is probably the easier one because the whole of the infrastructure belongs to the state. So the only thing they will oversee us over are processes. And once a year, they will come and audit those processes.
So they're not staff?
They're not, no. All of the staffing, all of the responsibility is ours, but the regulatory function is what they have.
Okay.
And before you start, your regulator must come and, you know, sort of look at your processes and be sure that they're happy with it. And they will come once a year to audit you. And that's really...
I wanted to ask, what is the wait time? Like, I missed my 9:30 train. What is the wait time for the next train?
Okay, so that's a good question. And that question is dependent on the number of rolling stock that we have. Right now, we only have 3. The vision for the state is to work with the private sector. So we're seeking a concessionaire as we speak, who will bring in more rolling stock and also augment infrastructure.
The government really shouldn't do stuff like that, right?
No, we shouldn't. The reason we've gone down this route sometimes is for the private sector to have confidence in the state that we're really committed to this way of transportation. So right now that we have 3, what we're looking at is maybe a 20-minute wait time. And that means, and that we probably would only do that in peak hour. Because transportation is always demand-driven. And we've done a number of studies to understand how people travel when they travel and in which directions they're traveling. And we know Lagos is tidal. Everybody's coming to the island in the morning and everybody's going back in the evening. So for now, you would be looking at about a 20-minute wait.
Okay, but given also the number of cars on ground right now, how many people do you think we're talking about here?
So in a day, based on the number of hours that will be open, we have done a study and we know confidently that we'd be able to move anything from 170,000 every day, just for these 5.
So now, I'm not sure if you can answer this question, but I know that the governor is hoping to get elections, to win the next elections. Do you think all the plans for the rail will be completed by the end of maybe 8 years if he gets to come in again? Or is this something that we might be looking for subsequent administrations?
Okay, so it all depends on what you're asking me, and I'll scenario for you. So if we're looking at the blue and the red line, So the Blue Line, for instance, we've done the first phase, and we will start operations imminently. Now, the second phase, we will actually commission that second phase when Mr. President comes. So we expect to start the implementation of that
immediately
at the beginning of his next administration. And the commitment we have from the contractor who's done this is that we can complete it in 3 years. The issue never is the ability of the state to complete. It's always about funding. And so long as you have the money, you are able to complete in the time that, and that's what we saw happen with the blue, and it's happening with the red as well.
Now, how much would a ticket be? I mean, people always wonder, is it going to be expensive, affordable for the average Nigerian? So what should we look at as the cost of each trip?
Okay, so the cost of trip is something I cannot commit to now, and I'll tell you why. I can't commit to it because we're actually in the process of understanding. There is a thing you do. Not only do I understand how many passengers I will take, because it's all about cost of operation. There's also the willingness to pay for the passenger. And then there's also what exists as we speak now. So what we're looking at, and we're doing all of those studies, and we've deliberately not done it before because economic situations change. And it's being able to do it at the time that is pertinent to the time when you want to open. So from our perspective, we feel that it will not be that much worse than what we're paying now to save you a minimum of 2 hours one-way journey. If you're going from Mile 2 to Marina today, you will spend at least 2 hours on the road. That train will take you no more than 10 minutes, 15 minutes, maximum 20 minutes, depending on my speed. The most that will happen is if I'm doing a low speed today, and I did that trip yesterday.
You started using the train?
Well, we do...
Please,
you say what we are paying now. I don't know how much a bus fare costs. When you say what you are paying now, you're talking about bus fares or taxis or...
No, bus fares.
Bus fares.
Bus fares, because we're talking about a general public...
So this is supposed to replace public transport buses. Do you see private car owners to be able to drop their cars and join the train?
I hope you will do that.
You know what I'm
That's a whole vision.
Children going to school.
Yes.
They're able to. And so, of course, as a mother, I'm concerned about their safety when they're on the bus, the trains by themselves.
No. I mean, you see it all over the world. So long as they are secure, even more secure on the trains than they are on the buses.
We still have our guests, and we're going to be wrapping up very soon. But it's important for me to... Let me throw in one question from here.
Yeah, so I have one more question. You were saying something about the government has started something and then has sort of built the trust to allow for private investment. How much do you think a private individual or private corporations should be looking at if they would like to invest in cars like this?
Okay, so it depends on what we're looking at. It's either you're looking at just providing rolling stock, which is what you would do with one that we have already built. And rolling stock can cost anything from $7 million to $15 million, depending on what you're looking at. For a 4-car train, for a 6-car train, for an 8-car train. And it depends on what type. So a diesel engine is cheaper than an electric engine, which is what we have. So those sorts of things are what you're looking at. But beyond that, obviously, there'll be cost of operations and all that. So that's what the private sector organization has to think about. But in terms of implementing a real infrastructure, which we have already done, let's talk about 2 that's just recently been built. There's one that was opened, I think, in Bangladesh, Dhaka, the central city. It was actually opened in December. They inaugurated theirs in December. And that rail system was, it's actually a 20.1 kilometer rail, and it costs $2.1 billion. What that speaks to is over $100 million per kilometer. When you speak about a metro system that is in the middle of a city, especially when you're talking about elevated rail, it is circa anything from $70 million to $100 million per kilometer. You get this in the Asian countries and Africa where we are developing. That is what you will get. And please let us understand there's a difference between an intercity rail and a metro system. A metro system world over, that is the price it costs. Actually, in other Western countries, it costs more. But the sort of balance is between $70 and $100 million per kilometer.
And intercity rail will be cheaper?
It will be cheaper because you're running a long rail. So if you talk about the one that has been touted, Ethiopia built something for 700 for 5. Now, that is a 759-kilometer rail. That only, I think, is about 10% of it, or 20, or less than that, that is elevated. It is also only about 120 kilometers of that is double track. It is also 3% of it that has some level of elevation, and it is not completely segregated from traffic. So you are allowed to have, well, maybe not as I go slow, but you have intersections, and they have to stop. So there's a lot of difference. So imagine that 759 kilometers of rail has 20 stations. So you think about the track that you have to do before you get to one station. We are only 20, we say we're 27 in total, we have 11 stations. So this one that I'm talking about in Bangladesh has 13 stations. And that's, those are, and then you also must think about the terrain. You're talking, the system that we've just built, we put down only for the tracks that are elevated, nearly 2,000 pounds. Lagos ground conditions speak to a terrain that is difficult to implement, and to implement something as heavy as...
Can we ever have like a subway here on the ground?
No.
Possible?
We are below sea level now. Lagos State is below sea level.
So it's not impossible, it just would be very expensive.
Yeah.
The rule of thumb in railway is that the minute you start to elevate, whatever the base cost is, multiplied by 2.5. And the base cost for metro all over the world, they would say to you, research it, is about $30 million per kilometer. If everything is at grade and you are not paying compensation, you are not in difficult terrain. Well, so the minute you elevate, that's at least 2.5 times that. The minute you go under is 3.5 times that minimum.
Personally, I don't want to go under anywhere.
Not in Nigeria.
Thank you so much for educating us, because many of us travel and say, why can't we have it in Nigeria?
Yes.
Are they air-conditioned rails?
Oh, yes, our trains are air-conditioned.
That's winding down.
No, we're not winding down.
In first class, they serve refreshments, you know?
Well, we don't understand we're in metro.
It's a short
We're not an intercity.
I just wanted you to convince Nigerians that they're safe, because she just said, Miriam just said, we're underground in Nigeria. No.
If NEPA take lights, you know, when you are underground.
So would NEPA take lights?
NEPA cannot take lights.
Convince us that this is 100% safe. Convince us, so take it.
This is as safe as it is anywhere in the world.
Okay.
Because as far as we're concerned, everything we need to do, we put in place. You know, you spoke to the power, and we are running an electric system. And what we've done, we have 3 methods in which we ensure that that power will not fail. We have IPP, we have the regular power, and then we have a drip system, a UPS system that connects both. So when my main lines go down, the UPS system picks up until my IPP comes up. So you, the passenger that you're on the train, you will not know that there has been a transition, that NEPA has stopped.
Let me quickly take you to water. Water is one of the most, for me in Nigeria, it shouldn't be as dangerous as it is, but waterways has become a very dangerous means of transportation, because the average Nigerian probably doesn't know how to swim, and we don't have a rescue system. I've heard a bit about what Lagos State is doing to intervene. I've heard about this stuff that can come and meet you and rescue you automatically. But can you give us a bit more information about how safe the waterways are now? Okay,
so I think in the past 3 years, there's been a lot of work done on the safety of passengers on the waterways. So the basic awareness, wear your life jacket, just don't travel at a certain time. So travel must end at a certain time. When all of those things are adhered to, we have recorded a lot of safe times on our waterways. And like you were just referring to, and I think the governor spoke about it when he was here, they have just opened a control center that speaks to, it just surveys the whole of the waterways, and if they see that somebody is in trouble, they can deploy a gadget to go and pick them up. So the rescue, the search and rescue also is big now. There's a lot of it going on. So from the safety aspect of the waterways, there's a lot that's been done, and the state has recorded excellent what would I say, the history of, at least in the past 3 years, there's been excellent history of safety on the waterways.
I have a request, and this request is because I'm a Lagosian, and I live in Lagos. And one of the cultures of being a Lagosian is that when you are driving, you can buy plantain chips and now, I know you might not want to do that for the train, but if we have authorized people where you wear a uniform and you're the one that can sell chewing gum here, plantain
from the train station now.
No, not the train station. In the car, you know, it's a Nigerian culture where we're in the road, while we're riding, we like to munch things here and there.
Because we're in traffic.
Okay,
now we're in traffic.
Let me answer me now. Can we have authorized chin sellers,
so funny. I can't believe
in our train?
So really and truly, all these are our habits. It is not everything we must carry with us. There's some things that we should just be willing to let
go. What she's asking.
So you know what we're going to do?
For a 20-minute journey.
Let the man answer.
For a 20-minute journey, you want to eat plantain chips.
No, she can't. But at the station. So when you know that you want plantain chips, you know, you have that craving. We will have the whole of our stations will have
vending machines.
Yes, vending machines, commercial outlets. You can buy a cup of coffee. You can buy sandwich. You can buy the only thing you can't buy amalasha, but you can buy all sorts of chin and things like that and plantain chips and take it on the train.
Okay, so because Mariah is taking us on a lighter note, let me also go on a lighter note. We have people that preach in the cars and preach in the buses, and they hawk different things. Yes. Would this be disallowed in the trains, or can people still go there and say...
freedom of expression.
Okay, so this freedom of expression.
I don't pay for their transport.
Abi, thank you. I was just about to say, the person has come on the train. When he gets on the train and he chooses to have a conversation with fellow... when his conversation becomes a nuisance, though, to other travelers, he would be dealt with. We would tell him very nicely that he's disturbing other people. You know, in other climes, they will tell you, don't leave your music loud, because I may want to think I'm going to work, for crying out loud. I don't really want to...
put up those signs so that say no smoking, no preaching, no hawking, no what else.
Now, since it's a metro, we do have places to hold our hands, to stand on, because
you need to come.
So
we have...
No, you didn't invite us.
No, don't worry, we'll invite you now.
Your view alone, no, you're not the one that your view, no problem. So there's a metro, you can actually stand.
Yes, you can stand. You have all the straps that you will hold on to.
Say the AC will not kill somebody, because they said the AC to Ibadan that, hey, if
don't worry, just come with your jumper. Come with jumper, come with jumper.
Then for the people with special needs, disabilities, are there segments where disabilities people stay? We have that in the train too? On
the trains, we have dedicated spaces for them. We have level boarding, which means you can roll your wheelchair onto the train platform. So
let's take a few comments on social media before we wrap up.
I think Andrew StarTimes says, from Magodo to Lekki Station, how much will it be? He wants to invest.
All right.
Does he want to build?
Let's talk, so we're going to wrap up soon. I'd like you to talk about LAMATA, because, you know, many of us, we hear of LAMATA, but we just think of transport. We don't really know the vision, what your plan, the bigger picture, as YK said earlier. We want LAMATA. What are your plans for LAMATA? What do you see LAMATA? Where do you see LAMATA?
So maybe we should talk about the vision of LAMATA. So LAMATA, the whole vision of LAMATA is to provide sustainable, integrated transport system for the people of Lagos, so that you and I, who are going to be partakers in it, would be satisfied, and to also drive the economy of Lagos. When transportation is right, economy will grow. That's the vision. And all of that is mainly what we look at is public transportation. So LAMATA has a responsibility, first of all, to plan. We sit in that place where we plan the public transportation for the whole of Lagos. So when we talk about water, even though we don't implement, Lagos State's vision is that all of the planning takes place in one place, so that it is nice, integrated, and everybody is not going off to do their own thing. So that's what LAMATA does. We plan, we implement, and we regulate. So the vision would be that as we have buses, we have rail systems, we would not operate. We would have people who would operate, and we would sit in that place as a regulator, which is what we're doing now for the buses. We would do the same for the rail system.
There's a question here from Solomon, Relaxing Music. He says, my next question is, have they also thought of staffing, training for drivers and trainers, and the trainers train is not something that you go and hire through man, no man, or party affiliation?
Good question.
And it's a fantastic question. Funny enough, we had a meeting yesterday with the vocational, the executive secretary of Lagos State Vocational Training Services. But we're also partnering with Istanbul Metro, they have already sent us a number of trainers. Also, CCCC, who implemented, they brought us trainers. So what we expect to do is that when we've started actually to collect CVs, we've asked people to bring their CVs. We will train all of those who would work with us. And honestly, I like the question about it's not man, no man. In the conversation we had yesterday concerning training, you cannot, the first thing is, real operations is about discipline. And all these bad habits that we have, we cannot bring it onto the operations of railway. So those soft skills must be taught, and then the hard skills for running the rail system. So we are in the process of doing that as we speak.
So I have a comment here. Some of our fans also want to be part of the trip. So they said whenever you invite your view, please invite fans of your view fans. We'll take a few of our fans too. Okay. So let the invite be official. And we'll invite our viewers also to join us on every day, so I will be happy to be on the train.
Okay, so please, there's something that we said a bit during the break, that we have a lot of women, and I've said it several times, that this administration has a lot of women in power, and it's interesting to interview them and get your professional perspective, but you have a family life, and many people just see you and think of the work, LAMATA, as the only thing. But what is life outside
of LAMATA? So I'm a married woman. I have 3 children, 3 adult children. So my youngest is 22. He keeps telling me, don't call me baby. So I have 2 daughters and a son. My first daughter is married, and my other 2, they're working. Yeah. Right. So it's been an interesting journey. I've always been, I graduated as a civil engineer, so I'm chartered, and I worked in the UK for 20-odd years. I got my chartership in the UK, and I am also a chartered engineer here. I've always worked in transport infrastructure delivery. That's been my passion for a long time, and I did that in London on the London Underground. I delivered a number of the infrastructure for the London Underground
square
system.
peg in the square hole.
Did they headhunt you, or did you come back?
Interestingly, I came back when they started this Blue Line about 12 years ago. And I worked with Governor Fashola at the time as a consultant to them. So when Governor Sanwo-Olu came, and I did that work up until the first year or so of Ambode's reign. So I was the consultant who was overseeing the implementation of this Blue Line. So when you say Blue Line Rail, for me, it's something that I'm passionate about. I've been with it forever, and I intend to see it right through. So I'm really excited about the implementation. But Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu asked me to come and head LAMATA. So at first I thought, you know what, you've done this from the outside. See, do it from the inside.
There's a comment here which I think is really important. So what if there are altercations within the train? How does that get resolved? When tempers are high, when you train and somebody's getting angry and shouting, then, you know, what do you do? Are there security on
Can they throw the enemy out of the window?
No, they can't.
So don't give ideas.
So when tempers go high in the train, are there ways we can...
So and I guess that's part of the reasons where we've been engaging with Lagos State Neighborhood Watch. I find them to be, you know, when you say native sense, they're good at that. So they'll be able to walk up to the person and say, there's really no need for this until we get to the next station, and understand we're on a journey that is not too long. This is not like going from Lagos to Ibadan, where you can be sitting there for 1 hour with somebody and the wahala will just be escalating. But if someone is, if the next station is probably 3 minutes away, so you begin to, and the minute there's a problem, we can see it in our control room, and that person can be...
Oh, so if you're necking your boyfriend in the thing, you can see.
Just be very...
Wow.
Don't try yourself.
So those of you that are carrying boyfriend, you know, to the train, and somebody is watching. Oh my goodness, that is invasion of privacy.
Look at
it.
No, it's public space. So that there's no privacy. If
you are the one that is invading the public space.
Yes, now if you are going to kiss in public.
We want to see everything that's happening on the train, because I would like for my children to be able to use it without me following them.
Okay, we have to wrap up. Thank you so much, madam. It was a pleasure having you.
Thank you very much.
Show any final 5-second words to our viewers about the train? Just final words again.
So The only thing I really want to say is us to understand that these trains are electrified or the tracks are electrified. Please, please, please don't cross it. We've been talking about it and we continue to talk about it. Don't cross it. Use the overhead bridges that we have provided.
To shock you?
Yes, it will.
Oh, my Lord.
Under no circumstance should you cross the tracks, please. And also, I want to speak about owning infrastructure. Let us not, under any circumstance, begin to vandalize it.
Yeah.
If state spends money that is supposed to do once, if they spend it 3 times, then all of us are the ones paying.
But if it's electrified, you can't vandalize it.
But you know what they do? They're vandalizing. So we have fenced it all off, and they're trying to
electrify it, please.
Fence,
Electrify the expressway.
if you just electrify
them.
small,
yes,
it will deter them.
Just tease them a bit.
Yes.
Because
That's all we can take on today's show.